We'll leave Football Park and I'll take you out to Elizabeth where North Adelaide plays Central District, and I'll hand you over to David Mackay and Stephen Trigg.
So the final quarter underway from Elizabeth Oval, and it's finally balanced with North Adelaide trailing by 19 points. They did get back within 13 points late in the third quarter, but a goal just before the siren by Scott Lee has given the home side a 19-point buffer. So they're looking pretty good, the Bulldogs. And you've got to say that if North can get up and win this, it's going to be quite a remarkable performance, because the Bulldogs have been in control for most of the day. This is Cook going forward. Oh, Lewis, what a strong mark that was. Now they've switched him around, Triggy, haven't they? It looks like he's playing at full forward.
Yes, just having a quick look at that, it looks like he's drifted down to the front, and Reimers is at centre-half forward.
Yeah, Sanford had the job for the first 3 quarters of picking up Lewis, and I think Lewis has gone to full forward. They're going to use him to come out and lead and mark strongly like he did then. The kick, however, is a straight through for a behind. 14-7, plays 11 goals, 5. You've got to look at how North Adelaide can restructure to run the ball forward and kick enough goals to win.
Not sure they've restructured much at all. Not a lot of versatility they've got left there. They just need to play to a plan of hitting some space, run and overlap. This is the ticket at the moment. Except they need to go with the ball. Mark Jeffries couldn't do it. Noonan's still there. He's had a relatively quiet day by his standards. Well covered by Potter. Still in there doing some hard work, mind you.
It's a horrid battle between the two of them, hasn't it?
There they are.
Now that picture pretty much sums up how it's been all day. When Noonan's had the ball, Potter's been wearing him right over the top of him. He's been just pounding him into the ground. Potter has been relentless.
I'm not actually sure. I just watched at the last bit of that third turn that he's picking him up anymore. I think that McGowan and Noonan are doing battle now. Noonan got that one away. Mancini, Sanders, good run from Jeffries. They're still setting each other up a little. Franco, Jeffries once again, the tackle from there. It's pretty good. Number 10 gets it back, and isn't that a famous number at North Adelaide? The old Barry Rodman's number. 4-time Magarey medalist, so Josh Franco's pulled a beauty there.
Franco turns Triggy 21 on Monday. Might be a bit of a celebration tonight, perhaps.
Not much of him. Josh Franco, that's holding the ball. The umpire was caught behind, couldn't see it. Boundary throw in. 14-7, 11-5.
Crowd 3,500, 4,000 people here today. Franco gives it around the corner. Oh, look at the kick from Squire. He kicked a pearler in the third quarter, and that one's nearly as good. That is a terrific goal to Squire, and he gets his second. And he's kicked 2 of the best goals today that you ever hope to see. That's put a little bit of light on the horizon for North Adelaide.
Indeed, and there's not many players around who can do that. Nail it from that distance. That is quite outstanding. Beautiful shot out of a barrel. Drop punt that carries 55 metres. Outstanding.
So at the bounce, Central 14-7, North Adelaide 12 goals, 5. The margin's back to within 14 points. The Roosters have still got a sniff at this. Grantham in ruck, thumps it down. Oh, beautifully stolen away by Cook. Reimers forward to Cotton, who started on the interchange bench. There's no free kick paid there. Wales the call. The home crowd didn't like it. Cook made good ground to get out of the centre and compete, but he just couldn't make up the extra ground. Sanders now to Noonan, who's good play. Mancini. Oh, he had a sixth sense, didn't he? Just got out of trouble beautifully. Feeds it off to Phillips. They've lifted a cog, North Adelaide. Viney to Perkins. This is good work. They're running from half-back. They didn't do that early. And a long ball into the forward line. Who's there? Scott Lee thumps it away. Over the top, Mail gives it to Bamford on the left. A goal here would be pretty handy, but he's missed to the left. Well, I'm just thinking, they're 13 points down, but a goal there would have meant 8 points, the margin. You've got to say they start to rise.
Yes, no doubt about it. They're on a bit of a roll. They've got the momentum, but their game plan still, we maintain, has to be to hit the space. With Josh Mail playing at full forward.
There's Potter again, Stephen. Have a look at him. 28.
Josh Mail playing at full forward, it makes it very hard to hit the full forward in traditional style and hope for a big mark to be taken. They just have to find the open spaces and let him run onto the ball. Peter Bennett's game's been terrific. He's beaten Hereda. Here's Grantham, the big fella. Have a look at him. It's a tough gig, though, for him. He'd be tired.
Well, he's rucked all day, hasn't he? Except for a very short period, I think, in the early part of the third quarter when they brought Holland on and gave the big man a rest.
Well, so too is Arnold, to be fair. But Arnold, I must admit, who's going for this ball now and takes it on the chest, is far more athletic. A lot of hopes riding on this man for the Bulldogs in the finals. If he can get over the top of Primus, straight to his opposite ruckman, 25 metres, and big Grant needs to get up and get on with it. By hook or by crook, gets dragged up. Yes, I was talking about the big fella Arnold. If he can get over Primus, if he can get over Mead, the Norwood and Port Adelaide combination, then he's going to set the Bulldogs on their way. Grantham from 55 metres puts it to within 10. This is the problem they've got. They're outnumbered down there. Peter Bennett's the only tall option. Can they squeak something from the bottom of the pack? Bamford, they might be able to manufacture something. Mail around the body. Can he drag it back far enough? Not quite. Well, they're plundering the goals. They need a good return, though. They need a goal.
2 goals to Josh Mail. This is Hereda. A solid game from half-back. Lifts the eyes and goes forward. Viney was terrific to do the spoiling. Now, Sanders looks for a free kick. He said it came off the boot of Schwert. Boundary umpire was having none of that. And we'll have a throw in. Grantham 20 for North Adelaide. Arnold is 26 for the Bulldogs. That was Grantham's tap. It came down to Mancini. Look at the desperate work by Cook, number 6, and Noonan. And while we're at the birthdays, Tricky, Noonan turned 22 during the week. And he is a chip off the old block, isn't he? Just like his dad.
He sure is. I admire the way he plays. He gets his hands dirty, gets down at the bottom of the packs. Plenty of courage, but you just think that North Adelaide, we've talked about their rucking deficiency. We've talked about the fact that they've got a little problem up forward in the absence of people like Tasker, Parker, Lounder, McCarthy in the reserves. They're missing height.
And the big boy from Yankalilla.
Of course, the big boy from Yankalilla. Who's that? Good question. Well, you keep thinking about who that might be as David Sanders gets himself up off the deck. The old fella, 286 games, 287 today. Kicked a magnificent goal in the third term, and his duel with Stephen Schwert today has been very, very interesting. Grantham, Sanders, and nothing happened. We've got 14-7 to 12-8, 2 goals, and North Adelaide have their noses in front.
Rosenboom. Tricky.
Rosenboom. Good call.
Well, I couldn't interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Player takes a dive out there, former Sturt captain Jay Viney.
He's been terrific for North Adelaide, by the way. You look at the bullocking tough work that he does off a halfback flank. I can't believe that Sturt wouldn't have fought tooth and nail to keep him, given their lack of experience this year, particularly. This is Schwert over the top of the ball, bundled off it by Franco. Cotton handballs it forward to Jimmy Wine. Back it goes to Cotton. That's pretty good play in the finish. They've worked that out well. Now Jimmy Wine goes wide underneath the green, and Hereda, who started in defence, is now playing at centre-half forward. Goes to ground, holds the ball in the area. And Bamford was the North Adelaide player just holding it in the area. Reimers wins it. Down it goes to Green. Healy, a left footer caught on his right boot. Bends it back around to the goals. That's a great kick. He kicked one on the left foot at the other end of the oval. And that one on his non-preferred foot deep in the pocket was a ripper. That gives Healy 2 for the afternoon.
He's a real talent, isn't he? And there are a lot of good analysts around town that reckon he's going to be one of the first picked up in the draft.
You know what he reminds me of? A good Geelong player. They're long, they're running, they're rangy, they've got good skills. He hits me as that type of player, but there'll be a few sides on the bottom who'd like to pick him up, I can tell you.
17 points the difference. The Bulldogs have their noses in front and look well set to sit on the top perch for a little longer. But North Adelaide aren't done with. Every time we've seen the Bulldogs get a break, North Adelaide have bounced back. Squire has made a difference. Searching, penetrating kick inside half forward. Bennett's the man. They need to take some marks down there. Good take.
It's one of the few lapses by Hereda today, wasn't it? He was a good 2 metres behind when the contest started.
North Adelaide are shaping up to bring Grantham off and hold it on as Bennett has a look at it from 48 metres out. Launches himself at it. Mancini also launched himself at it. Off hands. Squeezed back by Mail towards Allen. To Atkinson, who made an impact in the second term. Has been much quieter in the third and now fourth. Gets it back from Allen. Head of the square stuff required, but where's the height? It's still not there, and the Central boys take a mark. Potter.
You've got to rate him probably best today for the Bulldogs, don't you? He's been terrific. So's Windsor, who's only made one mistake at fullback. It's been the best game I've seen Ray Windsor play for the Bulldogs. Schwert started well, faded during the middle of the game, and Hereda at centre-half back had kept Bennett quiet for quite some time. Laird now drives it long, lures, streams out after it, the big man. Saunders in pursuit of him. Saunders over the top of the ball, holds it in the area and will force a bounce right on the 50-metre line. And look at the Bulldog players, Green and Lures, encouraging each other. They really are a different side this year. They look hard and mean. Reimer's up high. It comes to Atkinson. He gets it away to Viney. He flicks it out to Noonan, who in turn has Saunders running. Wide to the outer side goes the kick into space. Squire pushed off it. Oh, it's a free kick. It'll be Pyman's for sure. Squire was just off balance. Gave away the free kick. Now, Pyman, he hasn't done much wrong on the half-back flank either. He has been a solid player. Forward he goes. Good mark. Healy. Rising star on the left boot. It's a long bomb to the woods, the full forward line, and it's Lures. Lures has the mark. No, it's a free kick at the umpire for a push in the back. It was against Conway. And so the free kick is North Adelaide's, and it goes to Gerke.
It was well seen by the umpire. It did look like Gerke was shovelled forward. Bamford, far side of the ground. They have to travel some distance, I must tell you, to try and keep possession of the ball, and Atkinson's gone for holding it. They've changed their mind, the Roosters. Grantham has stayed on, and Hollett's come onto the ground, but not to replace him. Rather, he's replaced Nigel Allen within 15 metres. Gerke gets cleaned up probably by his own player in the end. Sanford's been outstanding at centre-half back.
He's been very solid, hasn't he? I don't think Nigel Allen is fit. I don't think he was dragged. I just don't think he's got the fitness.
Perkins in towards centre-half forward. This has been a problem for them all day. They turn it over time and time again through this line because if Peter Bennett's not there, the other options aren't there to take a mark.
Well, if they had a Parker or they had a Rosenboom, they'd just have that extra tall that they've required.
Or a Tasker.
Yep.
So they could conceivably be very good in the finals, North Adelaide. Don't write them off.
I like them on a dry, big ground.
Healy's on top of Bamford now. And Healy gets it forward into the arms of Cotton. Must have been touched.
Dead right, Triggy. The umpire indicated it was touch, call play on. Viney was up to it and just decked Cotton and made sure the ball didn't fly clear. They'll have a bounce right on the defensive side of the 50-metre square. Grantham handballs it out. Schwert couldn't get away a kick. Rustled forward. Schwert goes at it again. Atkinson applies a bit of pressure. And that has been the desperate style of play that's been played today. The Bulldogs have been terrific in close. They've bottled it up. They've frustrated the North Adelaide running game. And it's resulted in a pretty handy 17-point lead at this stage of the match. So we've just played, 13 minutes of the final term. The match is still anyone's, by the way. North Adelaide have the capability to get back into the game. Centrals are doing it pretty well, however. Schwert to Cotton was good play. Shorter still, it's Cook. He has been a valuable player this afternoon. He drills it forward. Out on the lead was Lures. He missed it. Out the back of the pack, it was Sanford. Gives it away to Viney. There have been a couple of very good players today. Now, look at Conway. He's made a yard or two, the big man. Gee, I'm impressed. He really chased hard and forced turnover, and Windsor marks at half-back. Well, what about the applause for big Conway?
I know it's sounding a bit like a broken record, but Jeffries, Mancini, Mail just can't compete in the air against Windsor, Hereda and Reimers or Wakeland down there. They're giving away too much height. This is the shortest side that's taken the league football in a while, I reckon. Sanford takes it, and he is one of the few talls.
Probably the best for North today.
Yeah, and I'd say just about their best player. He's been terrific value for them this year. He'll hug the grandstand side in front of this very parochial Central District crowd who have a great air of expectation this year. You walk up to the grandstand and they're all saying, we'll get this one. It's just a matter of whether if we get it on October the 1st or the 2nd. Squire, Hollett. You're going to tell me it's October the 3rd, aren't you? Scrabbling through those papers there. Perkins cops one, but the big Bison won't flinch. Does it well, does Sanders. Gets it back.
You're right the first time, Briggy. October 1st.
Gerke, thank you. Sanders, far side of the ground. He's got one spare. It's Phillips. Sticks Phillips in close. He's got Squire. Now Damien should go back and have a look because he can kick the distance.
Well, you talk about players who'll be drafting. There's 3 players for North Adelaide right in the goal square, and he lobs it forward, and I guess who's got it? Grantham. Now, I was going to say earlier,
probably unkind.
No, the deficiency in his game is his kicking. Now, he lacks no courage, and he's got a lion heart. He's building a reputation of really having a go, but his kicking, probably the poorest feature of his game. Now, I think there was, Joshy Mail was there, Grantham was there, and Mancini was there.
OK, put your hand over your eyes and just have a peek through the fingers.
Well, he's got it. Great work, the big man. Good thinking by Squire to push it in quickly. And North Adelaide get a goal that brings them back within touch, doesn't it?
It was good vision from Squire. My feeling was that he should still go back and kick it, because we've seen him kick a couple of delightful goals today. A beautiful penetrating kick, and he saw Grantham, he saw Mail, and decided that was the best option. To Grantham's credit, he stood his ground and then went back and kicked a very important goal. So 15-7 playing 13-8. Go out on the limb. Go on. Can North Adelaide make it?
Yes, they can. Don't worry about that. I've seen them. Now, we saw them in a match early in the year against, West Adelaide. West Adelaide kicked 6 goals in the opening 10 minutes of the match, and you would have thought the game was gone for all money. But North Adelaide kicked something like 13 of the next 14 goals, and then 8 after half-time to just slaughter West Adelaide. So they're certainly good enough. They trail by, 11 points. So 2 kicks in it. This game very much in the balance. Hollett steams at it in the ruck contest. Crashing forward and doing a pretty good job was Jeffries. Into space it goes. Bennett, they can rely on him over the top of the ball. He holds his nerve, gives it off to Jeffries. Around the corner he goes. What a shame. The kick wasn't up to it, was it? And Windsor just stood his ground and marked, and off it goes to Scotty Lee. Hasn't had a lot to do, but what he's done has been very solid. Jimmy Wine's been quite terrific today for the Bulldogs, and Ryan has just missed the half volley. But out of play is probably good enough. Playing in the number 36 jumper. Normally plays in 5, Hugh Reimers. Started in defence, now playing centre-half forward. He'll do the ruck work here. Opposed to Hollett. It falls down. Jeffries over the top. Claimed high by Green, but no free kick, said the umpire. And it'll be a bounce.
Peter Green has been picked up by Tim Perkins throughout the day. He's played the entire outing at half forward as Peter Green. And we're talking of deficiencies that perhaps the Roosters have. One of the areas the Bulldogs need to lift in is a goal-kicking half-forward. There is Green. Another half-forward is Cotton round the body. This entry is important. Look at that for a crunch. He's hurt Lewis. A great attack on the body by Sanford to Sanders. They've also got a Saunders back there, so don't be tripped up by them. This is Perkins. Viney, magnificent piece of work to Phillips, and now with Sanders, if he gets inside range, he'll kick it. Don't worry about that. He has a look outside the corner of his eye, and he finds a player who should have got a free kick.
That's a free.
And then Windsor kicks a floating ball out of bounds on the full. Well, Daryl Hart was out of the chair. I think he thought that was a free.
I think he's dead right. I've got to say to you now, they get a free kick there. Mail goes back and puts it through. They're back within, 5 points. No wonder Daryl Hart screaming. The season could be over if they lose this. Laird. A short one. Hicks on the oval. We'll try and pick up who went off. The Hicks kick is short. Green streams out. Now, Perkins has let him get away in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Perkins really has had him tidied up for most of the match. But Green has got 3 or 4 important possessions in this last term. We're, Triggy, 18 minutes in, and it's still anyone's game.
It's every good chance that North Adelaide can win this, but I'd rather be in front at the moment because both sides are tired. A little of the momentum is with the Roosters, no doubt about it. Well done by Hollett. But they could be spent by the time they get themselves close enough. Bennett. Peter, you've been magnificent in terms of the contribution at centre-half forward.
Yes, his contest has been outstanding. He's done it as a lone player, often 1 against 3. More often, 1 against 2.
And it's such a tough position to play because the ruckman drops back. You've got a centre-half back who's trying to knock the ball away and indeed knock the block off. And then when you've got a ruckman standing alongside him as well, it's very difficult. But Benno's done it so well, a dual premiership player. He's been around forever. He's the most experienced player out there on the park. He's got 290 games to his credit. And he's been very good. You just have a look at the Bulldog jumpers there. They're looking to close it down just for a moment. Try and get something moving. Well done by Arnold towards Healy. The umpire's taken a tumble behind the play, so he had no chance of seeing that, but somehow he found a free kick. So Healy will take it from half-back.
Yes, the umpire fell over. It was a bit unfortunate, but he was good enough to recover. Now, Hollett tried to gather in the mark. It goes to ground. Phillips claims the ball. but Reimers wraps him up, and umpire Jeans comes into bounce. Yeah, the umpires have done a pretty good job today. Apart from one decision just a moment ago where I think Joshy Mail was robbed, it's been pretty good. That's a bounce or a ball up in the wet. I should explain that this has been a torrid encounter. It's been very physical. The ground has been soft underfoot. It's made it very difficult and heavy on the players. They'll be dog-tired at the end of this match. Reimers wins it. Down it goes to Potter over the top of the ball yet again. He's been there all day and I think has emerged as the best for the Bulldogs. When you're allocating the votes and you look at his contribution, and he will be a very sore man tonight. So we'll try it again. Reimers opposed to Hollett. Hollett it was who won that tap. Down it goes as a free kick picked out. It's going to Cook. He caught one high. In the clinches, it is tight. Centrals are good in that area. I think North Adelaide's game is their running game. The Bulldogs are terrific when it's in close. A long ball, Hicks. Front position. Another bounce.
We've been talking about the height deficiency that the Roosters have. Mark Hollett is 185 centimetres tall.
What's that, 6 foot and a half in each?
And his opposition number is Arnold, and he's 197 centimetres tall, so they give away a lot. And Grantham at the moment is on a back pocket, so his mobility might be hurtful. Well done by Mancini. Tried to barge his way through. The Bulldogs are calm. There's a nice little bit of poise about them at the moment as they get it away towards Lee. Doesn't panic, has a look, and then finds James Wine. Plays it on. Hicks, who's cold. He didn't need that contest. Saunders, short pass, and he's got the famous number 10 jumper being worn by Joshy Franco. Now, Franco will lift the eyes, and this is the problem on a static play. Not much on offer besides Benno. Presents it pretty well, spoiled forward. This time, though, it's Green. A wobbly old torpedo punt kick, tough to take. Don't underestimate that. Very tough to take, and it was well done by Saunders. Gets it away towards Perkins. They've got one spare on the far side. Viney turned his back on Perkins, and Tim just waited until he was looking. Then kicked it to the far side. We've got a little bit of sunshine, critical bounce. Very critical bounce. The big fella, Sanford, couldn't get down to it, but he butted up pretty well on the second effort. Gee, they just needed a bit of luck there, didn't they? They needed it to bounce up and sit for him, give him a chance to break and straighten, but it didn't work that way.
And we're 3.5 minutes from time on. 11 points the margin, favouring the Bulldogs on their home ground. They've been pretty good, the Bulldogs, recently. They've won, what, 6 out of their last 7. Their only loss was in that mud heap at Norwood a couple of weeks ago. Oh, and there's a free, and maybe a report if he's not careful, Bennett.
Oh, dear, oh dear.
And nothing. Oh, you just can't do that, surely.
Well, the umpire's looking straight at it, so there must have been a bit of aggravation there. They're only him and the umpires. I reckon there's a bit of aggravation and stirring up going on.
Yeah, they let it go, and that's fair enough.
And they let it go. Good work from the umpires, I'd suggest to you.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
As the ball gets bundled across the line in front of...
Because the players sort it out, and as long as it's not illegal or overly forceful, I mean, that's just sorting out situation.
In front of Chris Pyman. So we've got 15-7 to 13-8. 11 points in it still. Scores haven't changed for a while. It's getting very late. Here's half a chance. Mancini has a look at it from the head of the square.
Haven't they had some opportunities?
Oh, gee, I don't want to be melodramatic about it, but they need the double chance. They're sitting in 4th position.
Well, they need percentage.
They need that goal.
Well, they need a win here today, and they need a 4 or 5 goal win, by the way, because of the percentage they trail Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide is sitting in 3rd and have a nice percentage buffer. That's a great mark, Healy. He's been terrific today, too, off his wing. Has beaten Bamford. He's been a clear winner. This is Reimers in front of Sanford. Now, Reimers has run around. I think has caused Sanford some problems. The kick is a beauty. Onto the run of Jimmy Wine. Forward he goes. Harada.
Oh, Jay.
Crashes through. Did it pretty well. Cotton went to go short. Saunders smothered it. Did it pretty well in the finish. Now Cotton again. A forward ball. Who wants it? Oh, great courage back there, Phillips. And he wins it. You won't see many more courageous marks than that.
Jay Viney let a play through that he didn't need to. Put a lot of pressure on Phillips, who had to pull out something quite, as you say, courageous. Jay let the player through, needed to tackle strongly, couldn't do it. Franco far side, good luck. There's 2 Bulldogs out there. He did it pretty well, did Josh, and found the boundary line. We're on the doorstep of time on, and we've still got, well, we're into 10 points the difference.
So a goal here to either side would make it very interesting. If North Adelaide get a goal, they really have got the run of play and the force behind them. If Centrals get it, I think they can probably deflate North Adelaide. This is Cook streaming through. What an important kick this one is. And forward it goes under it. Oh, The big man Lewis missed it, but Green picks it up and goes for goal. Good night. What about that? 2 goals to Green. Great work by their Rovers to get the ball forward. Lewis presented himself, and Green mops up with a timely goal.
Good piece of work on centre wing. We've talked about the fact that Central District are versatile. They can use Reimers up the front. Now Conway's proven with 3 goals today that he's an option. They have, of course, Grant Coffey and Adam Richardson in the reserve, so they've got plenty to call on.
Now Coffey kicked, what, 3 and Richardson 4?
Yes, and of course Simon Lewis lurking through there, so they've got plenty. The one little area that they need extra is a goal-kicking half forward. Now Green is having his hopes, or the Bulldogs' hopes, pinned on him, and Jared Cotton's on the other side, but Green is the man. There's no doubt about that, but they want to kick goals in the finals this year.
The margin out to 16 points as we head into time on. We're just there. Central 16-7, North 13-9. Can North Adelaide pull out something special? Arnold wins it down. It falls to Healy over the top. What a great handball that was. Schwert at 50 can go for goal. He lines them up. It's coming around. Not quite far enough. It's a point. Well, the Central side has something else, hasn't it? They've got some toughness this year. They're mentally tough, and they've got good flexibility.
And they've got good depth. We talked about Coffey and Richardson. They've got Casserly down in the reserve, Scott Stevens, James Saywell, David Green, vice captain or a former vice captain of the club. So there's plenty down there. Schwert turns it over. Stephen has a look now from 30 metres out. He's a beautiful kick on the run, Schwerty. Gets his second for the day, and the Bulldogs put it beyond reach of the Roosters.
In just a wink of an eye, isn't it? It's gone from being a chance for North Adelaide and Darryl Hart. Darryl Hart would be sitting in the coach's box saying, right then, 23 and a half minutes into the game, we're a chance. And then in the blink of an eye, 2 superhuman efforts of just running. And you've got to understand the lactic acid in Schwert's legs would be tearing him apart, but still he was able to just explode and run away and kick that goal.
23 points the difference. Pollitt. Just had too many shortcomings, North Adelaide. I think the bottom line for them is they're a good chance in the finals, but they need a full complement. They can't afford to have too many injuries, where Central, we were just talking about the fact that they've got great depth. They can afford to have 1 or 2 missing, perhaps. Versatility and depth is pretty good. Squeaks out towards Atkinson.
It's a throw, Triggy.
But we've got a free kick, and Scotty Lee's going to get it. I must admit, I think the agitator's a little unlucky not to be playing with Adelaide.
You ask of his future, what is it with the Crows?
Well, seemingly it's at the crossroads, but at the same time, I, for one, would play him because he's tough, he's uncompromising. I think he's got his feet at that level. And I thought 2 weeks ago against North Melbourne, he won the game and certainly had an impact in winning the game for them.
Sanford's been terrific at centre-half back. Phillips, who started the game very slowly, warmed to the task during the game, gives it up to Mancini. Now he's 60 out. They need to move it quickly. Phillips, 50. They need a goal here. He bends it back around, but too far. Grantham can't get there. And in going for distance, he's dragged it far to the left, and it's through for a behind. 93 Magarey medalist. Been a terrific player in defence for North Adelaide this season.
Many would have expected him to play through the midfield on his return to North Adelaide, but he's assumed the spot backward of centre, half back or back pocket. And along with Sanford, particularly Sanford, Viney and Perkins, it's a pretty rubbery defence. Hicks on centre wing. Speaking of rangy players, he's got a bit of height and spring about him as well. Hugs the boundary line. Cotton couldn't keep it in. And it goes across the line. 17 goals 8 to 13 goals 10.
You can say at this stage that Central have wrapped it up, Triggy, so perhaps you might think about our best players as we play out the final moments of this game, and we'll ask you in just a moment. To ground. Sanford over the top. Bamford tries to come at it. Cook right across the line. He's been a tough contributor today, Tim Cook. One of those Teal Cup rovers that Alan Stewart has brought on and really made a terrific rover of him. We mentioned earlier in the commentary that Jimmy Wind and Cook really don't suffer by comparison with any roving combination in the competition. This is Franco. Now Viney and Noonan. 22 during the week. Goes long and... really didn't pick a target, did he? opportunity for Hereda to go forward. Into space it is. Hicks out on the lead lures. That's where the ball will go, but it was just too short, and Phillips dropped into the hole and just chopped it off. The siren sounds, so it's all over at Elizabeth. The Bulldogs, 17 goals 8, have defeated North Adelaide, 13 goals 10. The margin of 22 points, the final result.
Well, and you think if that Josh Mail free kick had been paid, perhaps North Adelaide would have only been 5 points down. Daryl Hart was scathing of the umpires after the match. The final score, 110-88. Conway kicked 3. He was terrific full forward for the Bulldogs. Wind, Cook and Wakeland kicked 2, as did Greenschwert for the Bulldogs. They were quite terrific. Allen, 3, was injured late in the match, was their major goal scorer for North Adelaide. And if you have a look, Neville Roberts, about North Adelaide, they've now got their work cut out for them. Today they had a chance to wrestle third spot from Port Adelaide. They couldn't do it. They need the percentage, and they go next week to take on South Adelaide to stay in the hunt. Yes, indeed. Thank you, David. And I know that Norwood would be, after their loss here today at Football Park, pretty happy about North Adelaide not getting over Central. I'll go back to Stephen Trigg, and Stephen, it's been a pretty busy day in the AFL. Last night, of course, Richmond got over Hawthorn. It'll be the first time in 14 years that the Hawks won't play in the finals. And of course, today, Essendon too good for Melbourne.
Yes, it's probably the toughest round of AFL football to pick all year, I reckon, but the big result there is third on the list. Adelaide up over by St Kilda by 30 points, Neville. Yep. And North Melbourne over the West Coast is also a little bit of a surprise given West Coast form. Let's have a look at the AFL ladder. And Carlton sit proudly on the top, Neville, with Richmond running in at second. Yes, the Tigers clawing their way back there. I don't know whether, and Geelong, of course, still there, Essendon making a play. Adelaide, well, they've improved their position, haven't they? They're now 9th. And I guess whilst you would be wildly optimistic to be talking about finals, they've certainly improved their position, and they are still a chance, strangely enough. In the local competition today, of course, Port Adelaide ran out winners over Norwood here at Football Park in a magnificent game and kept the Gallagher Cup. The Dogs, too good for North Adelaide, out north. Yes, they certainly were, Neville. We just saw the last part of that game, and the Dogs are a very powerful outfit. West Adelaide, gee, that must have been a seesawing game, because the Bloods in the end have kept their final 5 aspirations alive by winning over South Adelaide for the 3rd time this year. And don't forget, of course, tomorrow the Eagles play Glenelg. Yes, the Dogs still keep top spot. Norwood right in there behind them. Port Adelaide making their assault, and with Hodges coming back into their team, Stephen, they're starting to look like a real threat again. Yes, and it's looking interesting, Neville, at 5 and 6, isn't it? West Adelaide now 1 point behind, and that little draw that they had with Central District midway through the season is going to be important. Let's have a look also at the leading goal kickers. Danny Delray's kicked almost, Neville, a third of those goals against Sturt, would you believe, throughout the year. But Simister's obviously had a big one. Oh, he's had a whopping game out at Richmond today, and good luck to him. On 54, Coffey in there right behind them, playing in the twos at the moment. And the big news today, of course, was that Tony Modra was dropped from... he's issued a statement, there it is, that he wanted to play for West Adelaide. He didn't attend a team meeting. He wasn't selected, and said that he's been approached by several AFL clubs. Big news, but I don't know whether he's handling it that well, his demotion from the Crows, Stevens. And wherever he goes and whatever he does at the moment, Neville, he's finding controversy will follow him around the place. He brings a lot of it upon himself, I have to admit, but from Adelaide's point of view, Neville, I just couldn't even contemplate trading him or putting him into some sort of horse bartering system. They have to have him. What the Adelaide Crows need, despite a good win today, Neville, is a good centre-half forward, a good centre-half back, hold Modra, get his feet on the ground, and I think they might be all right. Don't disagree with that. Very quickly, Darren Jarman at $1 million. Is he worth it? $1 million bucks, wouldn't mind it. Probably not, but I can see him staying at Hawthorn. OK, plenty of controversy. There'll be plenty of that during the week. Thanks for your company. We look forward to the same next week.